The Met Police has apologized to Stephen Lawrence's mother for failing to fulfill a pledge to answer issues raised by a BBC investigation into his murder. Baroness Lawrence was promised an explanation when the BBC identified a significant suspect in June. Numerous police failures to adequately investigate him were also discovered. Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley apologized to the BBC, saying, "On top of the failures over the decades, this is completely unacceptable." Stephen was 18 years old when he was murdered by a group of young white guys on April 22, 1993, in Eltham, South London. Due to the Met's poor handling of the landmark case, only 2 of his killers have been convicted. Last year, the BBC publicly revealed a 6th suspect, Matthew White, who died in 2021 at the age of 50. In her first interview since then, Baroness Lawrence told the BBC that the Stevens murder investigation should be reopened. Speaking ahead of the 31st anniversary of her son's death, Baroness Lawrence stated that without the BBC inquiry, the family would not know what to do about White. "He's probably the key one who probably caused Stephen's murder, and they, the Met, did nothing about it," she went on to say. "I'm not sure what they're hiding behind, why they can't come and tell me exactly what they knew then," she said in an interview with the BBC. Sir Mark told the BBC that Baroness Lawrence must have answers to all her questions, and that he had written to her asking to meet. In 2012, 2 men, David Norris and Gary Dobson, received life terms for Stephen's murder. The remaining 3 original prime suspects, brothers Neil and Jamie Acortt and Luke Knight, have not been convicted. Everyone has already denied any involvement. Last year, the BBC reported that independent witnesses claimed White acknowledged to being there during the murder. The investigation also revealed that in 1993, White resembled the unnamed lead assailant described by Stephen's buddy Dwayne Brooks, who was present that night and informed authorities that there were 6 attackers. Following the BBC story in October 2023, Deputy Assistant Commissioner Matt Ward, who oversees the Dormant case, invited Baroness Lawrence to a meeting at Scotland Yard. Following the meeting, he agreed to provide a written explanation about White, as well as answers to other queries. On November 16, Mr. Ward stated that he will have an update in a week. In January, following more letters on behalf of Baroness Lawrence, Mr. Ward said he had neglected to respond, blaming other commitments. "I can offer no further consolation other than my professional embarrassment and personal regret," he stated in his resignation letter. There was no additional communication. Last Thursday, her solicitor, Imran Khan KC, wrote to Sir Mark on her behalf, highlighting Mr. Ward's refusal to interact with her. The letter claimed that Mr. Ward had treated Baroness Lawrence with complete and utter contempt, and that he had joined a long line of Metropolitan Police officers who have completely failed her and her family. The letter, which was individually addressed to Sir Mark, read, "You and your organization continue to show disrespect for Baroness Lawrence and have now shown that your public pronouncements with regards to your commitment to investigating the murder of Stephen are hollow and meaningless." The letter warned that a formal complaint will be filed against Mr. Ward unless the Commissioner personally offered a satisfactory response to the original queries. Sir Mark told the BBC, "We understand that this is a very difficult period for the Lawrence family and Dwayne Brooks. I apologize if our failure to reply in a timely manner contributed to this. On top of the failings of the last decades, this is completely intolerable. One of my key responsibilities is to restore trust in the Met, which includes how we interact with those harmed by previous errors. I apologize to Baroness Lawrence, who deserves answers to all her queries. I've written to her and asked to meet." This comes after Sir Mark was called to quit over the weekend by Gideon Falter, the head of the campaign against anti-Semitism, after his treatment by the Met during a pro-Palestinian march in London. The historic Macpherson Report, published in 1999, condemned the Met's early failings to treat Stephen's parents fairly and professionally. Now, 25 years later, the force is still having to apologize for such errors. The Metropolitan Police discontinued investigating the murder in 2020, claiming that all viable lines of inquiry had been exhausted. However, the BBC investigation revealed that not everything feasible was done, which the Met rejects, and that some crucial witnesses had not been seen in years prior to White's murder. During her interview, in a personal message to Sir Mark, Baroness Lawrence stated, "There are still 3 suspects out there, and I'm sure there are witnesses who could help them if they're interested. If you don't go and look, you're never going to find anything." The BBC is still investigating the murder and is aware of chances to collect evidence, which are also known to the Met. Baroness Lawrence stated that her family had always been encouraged to believe there was a wall of silence around Stephen's murder. But your inquiry demonstrates that people want to talk and have information to share with the Met. But they elected not to go get it, she explained. She claimed that the outstanding suspects were living their lives, they don't have to worry, because the police have no intention of following up and seeking to investigate them. Baroness Lawrence does not believe the Met when it says it has done all necessary to bring outstanding suspects to justice. I can't believe anything they say, she added. She stated that the people who murdered Stephen are definitely getting away with murder.